was just going to send you a message to ask you if I could do that.
It's time. It's time. I mean, we got like 3 minutes, but like no one's gonna show up for this. The only person who's gonna show up is Danny.
Who's Danny?
Danny. I think it's Weeb or Weeby. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you he's
writer.
gonna show up. He's already here. How do you
Oh, good.
pronounce your last name? Like spell it out phonetically so the rest of us can understand. Weeby. See, there we go. Weeby. Perfectly. Perfect. You're like on it tonight. I love it. Are you seeing? Are you looking in the background at that thing right there? I bought a digital picture frame, and every indie book that I buy, I load the cover into the digital picture frame to cycle through every 10 seconds. So yours will come up soon. That's the one I'm reading right now. That's The Stray Spirit.
How many's on it so far?
8?
Oh, wow.
I think 8.
I'm still trying to get through his. You're such a fast reader.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, I mean, I started reading when I was like 2, so, I have a lot of practice.
Well, yeah. That's true. I remember you read that book. It seems like Laura and I bought you a big, thick book for some trip, and yet it read in like 2 days. I figured it'd take you 2 weeks.
Well, that's why we got into those Hardy Boys books back in the day, because you could buy, 15 of them, and they were cheap.
Yeah.
And I could just fly through them through the trip. I remember, God, I read so many of those. I only remember the first book. The absolute first book in the series. I don't remember any of the other ones.
Well, I remember we went to one of those discount bookstores. You weren't with me. I think I was with Grandma. And they had a book that I read the synopsis of, and I think it was called Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. And I thought, oh, Brandon might like this. And boy, what did I start?
You know what's funny is it took me probably 6 months before I even picked it up. There's this thing, like, with books, if you're not the one, it's not your idea to read it, like, there is this mental block against picking it up and starting it.
I can get that,
And
especially when you're a kid.
Yeah, I don't understand, but he actually passed away a couple of years back. I think during COVID.
Oh, that's right. I think you told me that.
Yep. He is hated in the author community, let me tell you.
Why?
Because he has such a stick up his ass. Like, he is on record in so many different places quoting, like, I'm not writing fantasy, I'm writing literature.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he was a good writer, but
he was.
He pontificated a little too much. He had some pretty sanctimonious views about different things, and I don't know, he just came across as kind of an elitist asshole at points.
Yeah, well.
But he was a good writer. I learned a lot about writing from him. So
I read a little short book that he wrote just recently. And
you told me about that.
It wasn't, it wasn't particularly wonderful, but it's well written because he is a good writer.
They always are.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today.
Okay, let's.
So I found, actually, we're going to go back. Laura, my mother's wife here, went on and on one year, a couple years back, about a Rosewater Ricky. And she wanted to go find a place in frickin' Las Vegas that made one. And she talked about this damn drink for like a month and a half.
I remember.
And she finally gets to Vegas. And goes around, asks a bunch of people, tries to figure out, what's in it, how's it made, can you make it, this and that. No one could make it. And one bar she went to finally could make it. She tried it was terrible, and she wouldn't shut up about how terrible it was. But I think we had determined since then that whoever made it didn't make it right. And I can understand now that I've actually looked at the recipe. So Hendrick's, let me see if I can find what this gin is. So Hendrick's is a gin that I like. Where is it? There it is.
Well, I have a bottle of it.
It's good. It's a good gin. And I'm not a big fan of gin, and I'm definitely not a big fan of floral for the most part. But Hendrick's is a fairly good gin that I enjoy drinking. Fell in love with it at a wedding years ago in Key West. They had an open bar, and the gin was Hendrick's, and I said, hey, why not? I'll drink it. I don't remember the end of that night, but it was a good night.
It worked.
But we had Hendrick's at my job, and they accidentally ordered a bottle of this specialty Hendrick's gin called Flora Adora, and it's got a red label, and it's a rose flavor. So I tried it. I'm not a big fan of floral, but this is actually really good, and I thought, hey, I bet I could make a pretty decent Rosewater Ricky with this. Without actually using rose, I could just use the gin. So that's my take on it.
Actually.
So let's talk a little bit about what it goes into this drink. Okay, so we're going to make one. This is 5 brandied cherries with a spoonful of sugar on top. Okay? Doesn't look like much. Brandied cherries.
Okay.
This is an olive oil mister. I didn't even know this was a thing. But you put olive oil in this, and it's got a little built-in pump, and you pump it up, and then you can spray olive oil on whatever, like, use it for nonstick, whatever. You can do that. But what I've
had
done...
one of those 25 years ago.
Did you really? Okay, I didn't know this was even a thing.
I did.
Never even heard of it. But what it told me to do was put in this it told me to use Angostura bitters, but this is aromatic bitters. It's just Angostura is an aromatic bitter. So you've got some Woodford Reserve aromatic bitters. And then it says to use 151, but they don't really make little bottles of 151, and I didn't want to get a giant bottle of 151. So I just, moved up in the world and got me some Everclear. Yeah, let's light the world on fire. Yeah. So
yeah, there you go.
It has to burn. It has to be easy to burn. And then you put equal parts in your little mister, and you pump it up so it's all pumped. And then you spray it on your... Oh, I'm going to put it in some Jell-O at some point. That's going to be my goal. But you spray it on your cherries. So,
okay.
Cool. They're sprayed in there, equal parts. Then, fire. I have a torch. So you brulee them. God, I don't know if this is going to explode in my face. Don't you lean back. You're safe in Arizona. There we go. So now, as you can see, or as you can't see, I do have a little bit of fire going there.
Oh yeah, I can see it. So it's gonna caramelize that sugar.
Yes. Sweet. It's just going. I wish I could get a good picture of this without pouring it out all over the world. There we go.
Oh, so it's still going.
Oh yeah, that Everclear is doing its job. So it's caramelizing that sugar. I haven't made this, by the way, so this is an experiment. This could be awful. But it's still burning.
And it will be.
It's literally still burning.
Wow.
Okay. So I blew it out. There we go. Okay, because I don't want it to get too hot, because I'm about to add ice to it, and I don't want it to explode. All right, so once I've added that, place them in the mixing glass, add the sugar, mist it through a flame is what it says. Flame until sugar caramelizes. I don't know. How do I know if it's caramelized?
It'll be brown.
It's not brown, but it smells fantastic.
That's probably a good sign. You can just flame your flame over the sugar. That'll caramelize it.
Well, we'll call it caramelized. It was definitely on fire. Now, the real test...
I think it was on fire long enough.
Yeah, the real test is going to be when I dump the ice in here, whether or not it's going to actually shatter the glass.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
So we're going to give that just a second, and I got to get my soda water out of the fridge. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so...
Oh, that's right. You have a fridge. I'm like, you could not have made it to the kitchen and back in that time, but you have a fridge in there.
Yeah, I got a whole setup in here. It's all good. Although I left the freezer open. Damn it. I'm terrible about leaving doors open. Okay.
Yes, your wife has told me.
Shut up. Okay, so...
And she accused me of doing it.
So then it says fill with ice. Okay, cool. Fill with ice. Ice filled. Then I have lost my gin. Okay, so this is 2 1/4 ounces of Hendrick's Flora Odor gin, so it's a rose gin. We'll just add that to the mixture.
I wish I could smell it.
This says it smells like gin, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
but I don't want to smell it.
Nothing special, and that's what kind of threw me off about it, because I smelled it and I was like, it's just gin, but it's not just gin. And then a 1/2 ounce of lime juice. So I have a fresh lime that I picked from the tree. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze my fresh lime.
Wow, yours grow with a spout.
They do, yeah. I'm extremely vigilant of how they grow, just to make sure that
is so cool.
They're extremely convenient for me. And
That
then
is so great.
shake. It leaks.
You weren't you didn't have to muddle the cherries?
Not according to this. Shake and strain. Really, all you're
Okay.
trying to do is get some of the flavor off of them, I think.
Okay.
Okay, very good. And then it says to strain into an iced Collins glass. I should have checked to see if the lid actually comes off on this thing before I did it. Hey, there we go. And then I have another backup Collins glass. Let's get a melted water. Hey, whoa. Wow, that made a ton. My sealed glass top isn't actually very well sealed. That's okay.
I saw that.
And then top
I hope
with...
you didn't pour it on your keyboard.
Oh, no. Poured it mostly in my lap. It's fine, you know.
Oh, that's good.
Top with some homemade soda water here. I love my Soda Stream. It's the best thing I ever bought. Aside from my PlayStation.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so this will be a good way to... It's beautiful. It's a great color.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Okay. How is it?
You're going to have to tell Laura that I made her drink.
I will. Be honest.
It's not bad. It's, it honestly just kind of tastes like slightly watered down gin.
I think you should have muddled the cherries.
I think you're probably right. I like the idea of
That
a
probably
muddled
would've
cherry.
helped. Yeah.
Like muddled them. It doesn't
After
say to
you,
muddle them. It just says to put them in there. And I think I should
After
probably
you
after I do the
brew
burning.
away the sugar. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. But it's quite floral.
Oh,
Not
is
in-
it?
But not in a bad way. I don't like floral at all, but this is actually pretty damn good. I can drink it. I'm gonna drink it. Watch me. And then we'll switch to
Okay.
peanut butter whiskey afterwards.
Oh, that's what I'm going to be drinking.
So, you wanted to talk about aliens. That's what we're here for.
I think we should talk about aliens.
Now, you had this
Definitely.
idea. So, what was your... I'm going to let you start off with this. That way you can kind of prime us here. Why are we talking about aliens?
Oh, I'm disgusted with them.
You're disgusted with aliens. Is that what
Yes, Laura and I went to... Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
Laura and I went to Roswell. Didn't see any aliens.
To be
went on,
clear,
like,
we're
the
talking about
75th
otherworldly, not illegal. Otherworldly aliens. Let's just...
Yeah, other planets.
Yeah, from elsewhere.
Um,
The outside.
extraterrestrial.
There we go. That. E.T.
Yeah, so we went to Roswell many years ago and drove around in the dark on the highways, and no aliens, nobody abducted us, nobody did anything.
You were looking to get abducted?
Hell yeah! And I'm thinking,
Sounds like you
if there's an alien out there that if there's an alien out there that wants to abduct some humans, it would be me and Laura. I mean, we would be prime candidates.
Okay.
So nothing in Roswell.
Please, curl up.
And so, yeah, well, and we went to, of course, we go to the VLA all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're like 7
For
times.
those of you that are listening, the VLA is the Very Large Array. It's the giant
It's
array
the
of
big
satellites that
giant
are always
dishes.
pointing to the sky.
Yeah, we love that place.
Okay.
No aliens there. And then this last fall, coming home from up north, we drove down the extraterrestrial highway in Nevada. We went to the black mailbox, which, if you don't know what that is, don't feel bad. I didn't either.
You
It's a
told me,
black
but
mailbox.
remind us.
It's a black mailbox on the extraterrestrial highway that I guess people put mail into aliens. If you haven't watched Paul, then you wouldn't get it. I have watched Paul and I still don't get it.
Ah, valid.
So, yeah. Anyway, so we did that, and then we've gone somewhere else. I can't remember. Oh, we've been up by Area 51 because the black mailbox is supposed to be really close to Area 51.
Okay.
Never seen an alien, and I'm thinking if there were really aliens out there looking around Earth for somebody to abduct and somebody interesting, they'd want us.
I don't know.
And-
I mean, they're probably like,
since they haven't.
like, girls, if you're too interested, they just kind of, you're seen as needy. Maybe you come across as too needy. I don't,
And that could be true. But if you think about it, and this always used to irritate me about Oklahoma, they always seem to find the gap-toothed cretins.
Well, of course, who's going to believe them? I mean, if you kidnap someone like,
Exactly.
Jordan Peterson or something like that, people are going to be like, holy crap, maybe this is a real thing. But you kidnap some guy who
True.
looks like he might be fucking a pig, you probably are not going to trust him. That's
Exactly.
just good business if you think about
Well,
it.
that's probably the method to their madness.
And
I don't
anyone who can
disagree.
fly a gravity,
Yeah.
a plane or a UFO that doesn't actually affected by gravity is probably smart enough to be able to know who to kidnap and who not to.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But
But I'm
let's-
still very disappointed.
Let's be for real, though. I mean, there is no reason why aliens shouldn't exist. First and foremost.
Oh, absolutely.
With as large as our universe is, if aliens don't exist, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the chances of them
Right.
not existing are so much smaller than the chances of them actually existing, depending upon the number of actual habitable worlds that have to exist out there. Okay, first. But my question is, why would they come here?
Well, I mean, it's the flip of a coin. It's like, why does that person win the lottery and I don't? It's just the luck of the draw. They are going to go out. They are going to go out, looking for other inhabited planets, just like we will eventually if we ever pull our
Why?
heads out
When
of
I
our asses.
vacation, I want to go out to nature where there's no other people. Why would they want to vacation on Earth? We're not that great. We're kind of obnoxious.
Oh, well, now, see, you think they're vacationing. I would think they're just exploring. Have you not watched Star Trek? Come
I
on.
mean, yeah, but why would... if they're exploring, then at least they should beam down here and, like, I don't know. Like, why would they want to come here if not to communicate and visit with us?
Well, I'm sure that technically the people of Earth are not ready for that. I mean, think about what a worldwide panic it would cause.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes.
Oh God, no! I think we'd probably nuke ourselves to death.
Why?
Premature nuclearization. or
No,
something
we'd
like
be
that.
fine. Like,
You
honestly,
think?
yes, we'd be fine. It would be a thing. We have programmed ourselves with such a small attention span that it would be a problem for like 10 minutes, and then we'd be worried about some other bullshit. Like, okay, there's aliens. Now what do we need to worry about? Or it might actually just bring us together because we're so concerned with controlling this planet and gaining as much resources and power over this planet that I think if aliens actually came down and revealed themselves to us, it would probably unite us in a way that would be very beneficial to us as a species.
Well, I think that's one way we might go. I think that's extremely optimistic.
Sure.
I kind of choose to believe that way as well. But I also think that knowing the people in power, they'd be afraid that these aliens would take some of their power, and so they would view them as a threat.
Well, yeah, but like, what are you gonna do against freaking flying saucers?
Well, there's a lot you can do.
What?
You shoot a nuke at it.
Yeah, they've got shields.
Well, probably,
Not to
but
mention the fact
nonetheless,
that they can probably accelerate faster than a freaking nuke can chase them.
uh, I would think so if they had the technology to get here.
Yes.
But that would probably piss them off so much that God knows what they. Oh, and they may not just come back. I mean, think about it. If they came by here in the 40s or 50s or 60s and they saw what kind of stupid shit we were doing back then, they're like, yeah, let's not. That's the ghetto. Let's not go back there.
We're an ant farm compared to them. I mean, are you pissed off when the ant gets out and bites you?
True.
Sure, you swat that ant, but you don't kill the entire ant farm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Well,
think
yeah.
I don't think we're on a level for anyone who is that advanced would have to be able to look at our psychological state of mind and understand where we're coming from.
And that may be why they don't reveal themselves.
It's
Because they do
possible.
see that.
It's maybe, but then why hang out all the time? Like, at some point, I just kind of feel you're vacationing here.
Well, you got to check in occasionally and find out, well, is it getting any better? Are they getting any better? Are they growing up any?
Maybe.
It's like putting a kid in school. You don't leave them in first grade forever.
So,
Check them back and see if they're ready to go to second grade.
I have been listening to a bunch of crackpots on YouTube lately.
Is there anything else?
Well, here's the problem. It's like if you say a certain thing, you automatically come across as a crackpot, regardless of whether or not it's true.
Sure.
The drink is decent. It is floral. It's drinkable. I'm fine with it. I'm down. For as much of a pain in the ass as it was to make it, though, it's not that worth it. But I did get to light something on fire, so there's that.
This is true.
Okay, so crackpots, YouTube. So, they found where they think Atlantis was?
Where?
Have you ever heard of the Eye of the Sahara?
No.
You have to look this up whenever you get done here. So the Eye of the Sahara is a geologically interesting structure in the northwestern Sahara area. And basically what it is, it's a series of concentric circles off by the ocean. And it doesn't look natural at all. So they've gone through some of the specifics of the story of, I can't remember what the name of the Greek was that first described Atlantis. But a lot of the geological formations of this Eye of the Sahara match up with the described features of Atlantis from this Greek. Anyways, now is that proof? No, it's not proof. But if a thing existed, which it probably did for them to talk about it the way they did, it probably existed in some form. It was just been taken out of context by their description for the extent of what it was. Moving on. That's one little thing. Second thing is they're starting to find more and more evidence of these worldwide floods that happen every roughly, I think, 10 to 12,000 years. And flood accounts in different societies across the world that don't actually connect. So the theory that's coming out is that we're actually going through cycles where civilization rises, peaks, and then something happens to destroy and reset. Whether that be a meteor or the flipping of the poles or something. Yeah. But what I did hear is that there is a lot of stories of beings coming from the sky with 7 teachers teaching man how to build society and farm and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, aliens. I don't know. I just don't understand the why. Like, why come visit us? What's special about Earth?
It's inhabited.
So?
Well, maybe they go to all inhabited planets.
Okay, maybe. I'll give you that. But what's the purpose? Are we like rats in a maze to them? Are we like an aquarium?
Maybe.
Maybe. We're interesting to look at.
Well, let's go help these people along, and maybe in 300 or 400 or 1,000 years, maybe they'll grow up to be somebody worth knowing.
I don't know. It seems like we've reached a point in our society where it's like we're more likely to destroy ourselves than we are to make it to the next step. So why not show yourself and
yeah.
help guide us?
Yeah, I think now is the time for them to do that. But maybe this is just their 13th experiment, and they're like, well, this time it didn't work. We'll try something different next time. Maybe they just want to let it play out to the end.
That's creepy.
Yeah, isn't it? But, of course, we're watching Stargate now. And I know you've seen Stargate.
More than once.
I love Stargate.
Excellent show.
There's so many fairly complicated concepts on there if you stop and think about it. They've got the evil aliens, and then they've got the benevolent aliens, and then they've got the ancient aliens that pretty much helped everybody, and everybody's benefiting from what they left, but then, they ascended and they don't really care about anybody anymore, I don't think. But there's so much to think about. You can just, we watch it over and over and over again, and there's just so many concepts on it to think about if you get behind the entertainment value.
Well, a good story does that. A good story connects subconsciously to the building blocks that make up our psyche. The part that we can't really reach, but that's always there. But my problem with stuff like that is it's like, okay, you start thinking out, okay, what's our next evolutionary step? Well, everyone's talking about going to Mars and setting up terraforming, that kind of stuff. Okay, great. So my problem with terraforming, and this is where I think Firefly did a good job. Maybe we have to get a certain point our own will to help us before that we aren't showing that we're ready to join the intergalactic community. I mean, yeah, it's like in Star Trek, you got to be able to prove you can do warp faster than light travel before they will come visit with you. Yeah, I mean, yes, if we survive that long. But let's
exactly.
I don't know if you've seen Firefly, Danny. So in Firefly, it was, if I remember correctly, like, Earth wasn't necessarily the best place to be anymore. They kind of talked about it in the background, but I don't remember it actually being a nice place.
No, we'd outgrown it and pretty much used it up.
Okay, there. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so if we don't do space travel, at some point we either die, period, end of story, or we figure out how to work in concert with the Earth. Now, if we start terraforming other planets, there is nothing that forces us to work in concert with the Earth. We can just leave.
Right. We just run away and leave it, yeah.
Yes. So, basically what we would end up doing is, in the next evolutionary step, is slowly but surely start making trash heaps out of the universe.
Yeah.
Somebody said recently, I think it was, I saw a video, it was Jerry Seinfeld. Every possession that you ever own is in some stage of trashification.
Pretty much.
It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to, and as it starts to devolve into, hey, it's sitting on the mantle. Okay, now it's in the drawer. Now it's in the garage. Next it's in the storage unit. You never make it out of those stages. You never go back from the drawer to the mantelpiece. You never leave the garage once you're in the garage. You've made it to a certain level of trash, and you never come back from it. And That's a really good point. But let's say that we do that. We go out and we start colonizing the universe. We start making something better for ourselves. Well, what's the next step? We start being able to go back and forth faster. We start spreading further. We start extending our life. What's the point? Where is this going?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
It seems like a lot of what we do is just running from the facts of our existence. Someday we're going to die. There's nothing we can do about it. We're going to disappear.
Right. And if there's something that comes after, we'll go to that. And if there's not, we won't. But nonetheless, everybody's going to die. And I think you're right. People just run from that. They're looking for a way to distract themselves from it because they don't want to accept that.
Well, I think in some form, everything that we do is an extension of our fear of death, because we're trying to find a way to battle impermanence with some form of permanence.
Right.
Enduring works of art, making an impact on our community, writing a book. You know, we're trying to do something that gives us some form of permanence in an impermanent world.
Sure. But why?
I think it's because we have a biological imperative to do so. I mean, so part of the whole point of life. What was I reading? I was reading that life evolves in two separate directions. If the environment is conducive enough to it, which means it's habitable, it's safe, it's that kind of stuff, life will evolve to pass knowledge onto its offspring. That's what we do, is we have children and we pass knowledge. We evolve through our children. Our race evolves through our children.
Right.
Okay? The other side, though, is if environment is too harsh, you evolve immortality. You basically evolve to not die, because bringing new life into an inhospitable environment means that life is very likely to die. So instead, the organism just gets hardier and hardier until it just lives through everything. I don't know where I was going with that. But the question is like why? Why do we do all this crap? Like, why do we feel the need to, be important and endure and make something of ourselves when it doesn't mean anything? It doesn't technically do much. I mean, there's really no point. If all of us died tomorrow, like what does it matter?
Yeah. What was the point of anything I did today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And it's like these influencers and people that are have YouTube channels or whatever, and I don't know a lot about it, but they contribute nothing. I mean, really, it's nothing.
Yes.
But it makes them feel important. And that's the whole thing. They want to feel important. And everybody wants to feel important to a certain degree.
Yes.
But importance has gotten so large. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you had 5 or 6 kids, and as a parent, you're important to those kids, and maybe some members of your community, maybe not, but you're important to those kids, and that was enough. You raise those kids, and you raise them to be good people, and they grow up to be good people, and that was enough. But now, that's not enough. That you've got to be important to 10 million people, or you're nobody.
Well,
and I don't get that.
I can explain that, actually. I can explain that, and I know exactly why that is. So,
okay.
have I ever told you the food theory of culture and why culture develops in a certain way based on the major source of food?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we're going to take 3 different types of culture. We're going to take East Asian, European, and American. 3 different, very different kinds of culture. Okay?
Okay.
Let's take Eastern Asian. And in East Asia, the main source of food, the main staple that the civilization survived off of was rice. Now, here's the thing about rice. In order to grow enough rice to feed everyone in your civilization, you have to have 98% of the civilization growing rice. Have to. Okay?
Right.
If less than that, then the civilization declines and dies. So what do you see in that culture? That culture evolves as the type of people who very, very duty driven,
Yeah.
very family oriented, patriarchal driven. You have a place. It doesn't matter if you want that place or not. It's your place. You're going to do it, or you're kicked out, you're dishonored, you're disgraced.
Okay.
Now, if you take that same amount, that same knowledge, look at how long it took them to evolve. By the time we were in the middle of well, and I'm going to use this as an example. It's probably not a great example, but look at The Last Samurai. In some way, The Last Samurai, it's a Tom Cruise movie where I can't remember which war, but they had hired a man who participated in the I think it was Wounded Knee, where they killed General Custer.
Okay.
And they hired him to go to Japan to teach their troops how to fight in a modern style against a set of rebellious samurai. But
Okay.
in America, at that point in time, we're running around with guns. We had horses. I mean, yeah, but we had guns, cannons, like everything. But when they go over there, they're still with bow and arrow and armor and swords. And the reason for that is only a small percentage of their population can participate in creative endeavors, because everyone's growing rice. And when only a small portion can participate in those creative endeavors, you don't get invention. You don't evolve quickly. You evolve very, very slowly. Now, if you take a look at European culture is based on wheat. Wheat, you only need 75 to 80% of the population growing wheat in order to survive. So, you had 20 to 25% of your population that could actually experiment and invent and create. And that's why you had things like the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment, that kind of stuff. And that's why they evolved much quicker and they became a military power in the world, because they overtook everyone. But then you have America. America is based on corn. You only need 45% of the population to grow corn in order to feed everyone. Which means an extremely large swath of our population could focus on invention and grow society. Now, what does that mean to what we were talking about when it comes to influencers? I've talked about this before. 120 people to a tribe before the tribe has to split up and form smaller tribes. Now, in a 120 person tribe, everyone has their place. Maybe you have a couple or more, a dozen really good hunters, protectors of the village. You have your leaders, you have your potters, you have your blacksmith, you have your clothing makers, you have the people that are designed to run children, raise children. You have everyone in the village has their place.
Right.
And because of that, every single person has meaning.
Right.
Their life is important, because if they don't do what they're supposed to do, the culture, decivilization, the group, the tribe, the whatever begins to decline, if not flat out die.
Right.
Okay. If you take the children yearn for the mines. No, they don't. They don't yearn for the mines. If, as time goes on, our creatives begin to invalidate certain positions in society. You invent compound bows. Well, compound bows make it easier to have longer lasting bows that have a lot of power behind them. So the bowyer doesn't necessarily have to work as hard, doesn't have as much work. It's much easier to hunt, so you don't have to have as good of hunters. Then you go to crossbows, you go to guns, so forth and so on. Eventually you get to the point where instead of having to have a dozen hunters, maybe you only need to have 2 or 3. So as technology develops, these people that used to have a very fulfilling life based on their place in their society, because we've already determined through psychology that the highest thing you can do fulfillment-wise is give back.
Right.
Okay? Well, now you have people floating around with nothing to grant them fulfillment. So they have to find ways to be fulfilled. That in and of itself is a problem. They're going to have to invent new
Sure.
things. They're going to have to find new problems that didn't exist before. They're going to have to make some reason for why they exist. Otherwise, they're not
Right.
going to be fulfilled. They're going to be unhappy. But then you compound that with the fact that with the invention of social media, the world got a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So now, instead of competing with the 4 other hunters that are in your group to be the best hunter, now you're competing with every hunter in the world.
Right.
Because nobody joins a group where they're the only hunter online. They go and they find hunting groups and be a part of them.
Right.
Minecraft proves that abolishing child labor was a mistake. The children yearn for the mines. It's just a meme. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, then you look at influencers. Most people, especially our youth nowadays, they are not trained on how to be useful to society. They're not given any reason or means to exist in the world. All they know is going to school and being popular.
Well, or going to school and studying.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
And
how do you stand out in school? Nobody cares if you're making straight A's. None of your classmates give a shit whether you're the smart kid. In fact,
yeah, but some kids that's still their purpose. Some kids still maintain that as their purpose.
yes, some, and those are not
The
the ones
ones
who
that
grow up
can't
to
be
be
popular. And, yeah.
Those are not the ones that grow up to be influencers.
No, exactly.
The
They're the
one-
ones who grow up to be rocket scientists.
Yes. They find their meaning and fulfillment elsewhere. But then you have kids who they're not above average smart, generally speaking. They're probably above average attractive and above average charismatic, and they see the effect they have on their fellow students, and they realize they can translate that out into the real world. But you're right, it doesn't provide very much.
Right. And it's all, I mean, obviously to me that all is just a waste. It doesn't make anyone's life any better. And in fact, what it's doing is just in a way shining a spotlight on the people who can't do things like that.
Right.
I think it actually makes the problem worse. If you can do that. I mean, by addressing a problem, it makes it worse. I don't really know.
Probably, but what's the alternative? What would you have these people do?
Well, I can't drive 5 miles without seeing 7 help wanted signs. There's jobs out there to go get. Granted, they're not, glory on a screen type jobs, but they're jobs. They're real
Sure.
jobs that serve people.
Well, but you're going to get
And,
people who are attention driven. I mean, look at me. I'm attention driven. It is what it is. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be doing a stream right here or writing a book and having a social media presence. I am an attention driven individual. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. It's not. But I find my ways to get my attention in what I feel is a healthy way.
But, okay, so you're attention driven. And that's okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, if you drive by somebody laying on the side of the road bleeding at night and it's just you around, there's nobody else, are you going to look around to make sure somebody's going to see you stop and help this person, or are you just going to stop and help this person?
Well, and this is kind of where I'm getting at, I will most likely just help them.
Yeah.
But based on my experience in life, that's what I've learned to do. I mean, there are people out there that won't. And it's not,
I know.
But it's not necessarily because they're a bad person. Sometimes.
Well, there's a lot of factors, sure.
Yes. And there's other people out there who won't do it unless someone's watching, and I understand.
Exactly.
I understand. I'm not saying that that's right or good, but I understand why they think that way. Recognition of the problem is a big first step, and I think.
Sure.
I think a lot of the times the people in our country very specifically want to just point the finger rather than understand. They equate understanding with giving permission to, and it's not the same thing.
Sure.
I I have a hard time faulting influencers because it seems almost like a natural evolution of the system we have in place.
Well, yes, because the system is being mishandled.
But who's to
But
who's to change the system to make it handled properly? You can't tell people, okay, here's social media. It exists. It's free for everyone to use. Someone is going to get the idea, hey, I'm going to go out and make all this stuff look good. Someone's going to do that. And
yeah,
then some of these advertising agencies are going to look and see, holy crap, this person's getting like millions of views. It would make sense for us to like throw some money at them to equate our product with their views. At what point in that process do you step in and say, no, you can't do this?
well, I don't think you do. I don't think there should be that kind of control.
Right?
But I think that I think that
Exactly, Jamie.
society and advertise. You're reading his comments about 30 to 45 seconds before I ever see them.
I know it doesn't pop up onto here strangely enough until like a while after. I don't understand why.
Yes, the first time you said something like that, I'm like, what the heck? And it finally showed up and I figured it out.
If you're on the YouTube channel, the chat pops up immediately.
But I'm on the new YouTube channel.
You don't have the
But
chat.
I'm on it through Patreon.
Oh yeah, you're not on the YouTube. You're on the Patreon.
But didn't Patreon take me to YouTube?
No, so there's a link that I put underneath the video that takes to the YouTube channel.
Ah, that's probably why it's so slow.
Yeah. I can't fault them for what they're doing.
Well, no, because of the way things are. I mean, you got to find something for yourself, and they're finding that. Yeah, exactly. They are. I just, and it's the same thing with marketing and advertising. I think that's a horrible thing that ever happened to humanity, and it's gone. It's ran away with itself, and it's terrible now. And influencers are just a part of that. But yeah, I mean, if you can find a niche out there that's going to make you successful, and bye bye, and okay, and it works for you, then good for you. Just because I personally don't see a use for it, and I don't think it helps humanity, we'll say, doesn't make it a bad thing that people are doing that. I'd like to see these influencers maybe digging wells in Ethiopia where they need water.
Where's the money in
But
it?
they're not the type of people that will do. Well, there's not any.
There's not any money in
They're not
it.
the people. And even if there was, they're not the type of people who would do that. I'm going to go get some of my peanut butter whiskey.
Well, no, of course they're not going to do that. So, I am a primarily significance-driven person. Secondarily, love and connection-driven. Most of what I'm going to do needs to revolve around people. I'm a freaking introvert. Which is weird because if it was up to me, I would spend all day in my office. But look what I'm doing in my office. I'm writing a book to connect to other people. I'm on the internet, making social connections, trying to make other people feel better, trying to provide a little bit of goodness into their life. And then when I'm at work,
Sure.
as an introvert, my chosen work is to work with people. I am a freaking bartender. And granted, it wears me slick at times.
Kind of retarded.
But I would rather do
I
that.
bet.
I would rather do that than work in a warehouse. I've worked in a warehouse. Couldn't stand it. So, people are going to find things that pay them, that fulfill them, in what they find the most fulfillment in. Significance-driven. I'm significance-driven and love and connection-driven. So, I'm the bartender. and I'm in front of people. That fulfills both of those at a high level.
Right.
Same thing with writing.
But you're good at that.
Well, I'm good at it because I've worked at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to be a cook, and I said I need to get into freaking waiting tables. A, because the money is better, but B, because if I don't, I'm never going to figure out how to talk to people.
Okay.
So you can't expect someone like me to go dig wells in Ethiopia. I don't care how much it pays. I'm not going to do it.
Why wouldn't you do it?
First of all, wells are hard to dig. Digging is like the worst possible thing you can do. It's terrible. It's awful. I'm pretty sure hell
It's
is just
manual labor.
digging holes.
Yeah, it's manual labor.
Yeah, I mean it's extremely hard on the body.
But you wouldn't be out there alone.
I
I mean,
don't-
there'd be other people there.
I don't want to be known as the best well digger in the world. Just saying.
Okay.
It's just not something that I want to do. Like I don't mind being physical, but I don't like physical jobs.
Okay.
But there's a lot of men that are not that way. Like, they want to go out and work with their hands. They want to be physical.
Right. Well, I like manual labor. I enjoy doing mindless work sometimes. I don't think I want to do it all the time.
That's what video games do.
But
for
you
me.
know, I I don't think so. There's a lot of strategy and things like that.
But that takes a
There's
back
not much
burner.
strategy in digging a well.
The strategy of video games a lot of the time takes a back burner for me, because I can automate the process for the most part.
Well, I'm not a video game player, so I don't know.
In fact,
And I hear Laura's very verbal frustration when she plays it, so it seems to me like there's a lot of work to it.
So I like role-playing games because it's got a story, and that's cool. But there's a lot of... Tediousness is not the right word. They take care of themselves for the most part. However, there was one role-playing game that I bought that I couldn't play. I couldn't stand it. It was Octopath Traveler is what it was called, and it was a beautiful game. It was in an older style of art, kind of like almost like a 2D, 3D Super Nintendo game. But
Okay.
every single battle, you had to freaking pay attention to. Like, you had to, like, make decisions and think, and it was too much. Like, I want to just kind of go in sometimes and just explore and look around and not have to really pay real close attention. I don't want to do that. That's mindless to me.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't like that. I like things, but I like, what was that called? The Incredible Machine.
That was a fun game, but it's not something I would do to
puzzle type
unwind.
games.
At a certain point, it
Oh,
gets
no, see, the
too
things,
tedious.
but the things that you do, the things that Laura does to unwind, stress me smooth out. I mean, I can feel my blood pressure going up when she's playing these games. And I'm not even playing them. I can't do those types
Yes,
of
but
things.
you are a terrible side seat driver. Terrible.
Oh, maybe. On a video game?
Period. You're still side seat.
Mm,
But I have that problem too.
Yeah,
I have a
you're
hard
right.
time watching someone play a video game. Like, for me, it's like part of my mind gets invested in what's going on, and the fact that I can't control it annoys the shit out of me.
Oh, see, that's how I feel riding in a car, but it also scares me because I could die.
That's what I'm talking about. It's the same feeling. But my ex, she would just sit in the room with me for hours, silently watching me play video games.
Oh, that's love.
Oh, it weirded me out. Like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get the
But
desire.
isn't that what people are doing on Twitch?
Yes, but it's different. When I'm playing a video game, I'm not talking. I'm just watching.
Yeah, true.
And And I guess if you're watching like a Let's Play, like I might watch someone play a video game, but I watch someone play a video game that's good at it. Because I want to be able to experience the video game without experiencing the tedium.
For the frustration.
Yes.
Okay.
But like if you're watching me play a game badly, just exploring and looking around and just being dumb, like how is that entertaining? Like how can you just sit and watch that?
Because it's funny as hell.
I
The
guess.
shit that you say, it's funny as hell.
Well, but that's when I'm trying to be entertaining. If I'm just playing for myself, I don't care if you're watching. I'm not there to entertain you. I'm here to entertain me. I'm sitting there silently staring at the TV.
Come in. Come in. If you jump up here, your daddy can see you.
Can he hear me?
You're a good boy. No, I've got the headphones on.
Do you? Oh God, you can't even tell.
I don't want to confuse him.
No, I understand.
When I get on my phone, he knows it's my phone. He hates it when I'm on my phone. Come here, baby. Your tail's waggling. Yes, it is.
Danny, she's got my dog. I don't know if I went over that in a previous rant. I think I told the story of what happened.
I think you talked about it with Laura. Come on up. Come on. What? I think he probably wants to go for a walk, but he's going to have to wait. Yes. What do you smell?
Well, I probably won't.
And the back door's open. He can go outside.
Too much. Well, it's only been an hour. Wow.
And he's outside now.
We didn't talk very much about aliens, let's be honest.
No, we really didn't. But I think, back to Stargate for a minute.
Cool.
Wouldn't that be so cool to have a gate that creates a wormhole that goes to a particular planet? I mean, you don't have to get in a spaceship. You get there almost instantaneously. Oh, don't cry. And you get to go explore and, possibly get killed. But I think that would just be so cool.
I mean, yeah. The destination is never as interesting as you expect it to be.
Oh, God, no. That's true.
And
yeah. Unless it's Disney World. Why are you crying?
It's interesting. I never really thought about this. I like video games because they're new rules.
What do you mean?
So, there's a certain set of rules that exist in this reality. And the better you understand the rules and the better you, generally speaking, play by them, the better you are. The more well off you are. The better you do. You've got to sleep. You've got to eat healthy-ish. You've got to take care of your body. You have to pay attention to your surroundings. There's a certain rules to this reality. But after a while, dealing with the rules in this reality kind of gets a little boring. You know the rules. There's nothing new to be explored. In a sense.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that I've seen a forest means I've basically seen all forests. In a way.
Yeah. Yeah, to a certain degree, sure.
The thing about a video game is, it's new rules. And you don't go into the video game knowing the rules. You have a gist. You give a gist of what the rules might be, because they have to be similar enough to our rules in order for you to have an intuitive understanding of how to interact with the game. But at the same time, they have to be different enough to kind of make you wonder and be curious and seek out answers.
And work at it, yeah.
Yes. For some people, they can exist in the same video game for years, like Ryukar, who freaking plays Super Mario Maker over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh, God. Get you a cookie.
But, for me, I have to experience new games every once in a while, otherwise I just get bored because I know the rules, I understand, there's nothing new to see.
Right. Come on. Let's go have a cookie. Come on.
And a good video game, especially a good role-playing game, introduces you to new rules at a slow enough rate for you to understand the previous one before you are exposed to the new one.
Okay. And that's probably why I don't like video games.
Why?
Because I don't want to have to learn all the new rules. I know the rules for my world. I know which ones I can bend, which ones I can break. And I don't want to have to learn new rules. So
See,
that's probably why I don't like video games.
I'm very exploration driven. And that's a concept I've learned from Dungeons and Dragons. Like, different players, they have different desires when they play the game. I want to explore. When I played World of Warcraft, I swam around the entire map to see what they hid from me. Did I find anything?
Okay.
No, not really. But I did it because I was curious. I do all the quests because I want to explore. I want to see what's out there. Maybe there's something hidden under a rock that, I wouldn't have found otherwise.
Sure.
Once I find it, do I stop? Am I done? No, I want to know what's under the next rock. There's something about the allure of not knowing that makes me want to know. But once I know, then I want to find something else I don't know.
Well, that's why Lewis and Clark made it across the continent, because they wanted to find the next place.
Yes.
So thank God for people like that.
Yes. But that's just how I am. Like, I'm playing
That's good. That's not a bad thing.
I'm playing a game now called Undermine. It's about a randomly generated dungeon that's kind of like you're looking down on your guy as he's wandering around. You have a pickaxe, you can swing it, you can throw it. But there is a very diverse cast of monsters and items to find. And it's different every time you play, so you're never in the same dungeon, so that's neat. And you never find the same relics. And the relics give you different special abilities. Like, one of them might make it to where your bombs blow up extra big. One of them makes it to where when you throw your pickaxe, it ricochets and hits other monsters. One of them makes it to where when gold drops, when it hits the ground, it might duplicate itself. Well, what ends up happening is some of these relics interact in interesting ways. For instance, you get the one that makes it to where gold duplicates when it hits the ground, and it bounces around. But you also get the relic that when gold hits the ground, it blows up. So now, when gold drops, it goes boom, and then it spreads out and explodes again, and it just makes craziness.
I like it.
But you may only get that combination in one run out of 1,000. So every time you play, it's a different kind of experience, which is great for me because there's not a whole lot of content, but I get a new experience every time, so it's something new and fun.
No, that's good.
It would probably stress you out.
That's a smart game.
Yeah.
It probably would. You can't count on it. That would be my problem. You can't count on it.
No. Well, they give you some
I have
things
to spend. Well, you have to spend a certain amount of time in the beginning figuring out what the rules are this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I like knowing all the rules and knowing which ones I can break.
You are very security driven.
Yes.
Hannah's like that. My wife. My wife is very
I
security
can see
driven.
that.
I don't give a shit about security for the most part. Like, I know that I'm smart enough and capable enough of solving a problem if I need to.
Well, true, and I know that too, but at the same time, I'm so tired of doing that. I don't want to have to do it anymore. And I think you change over time. I mean, it's where you're at in your life. And you change over time depending on, what's important to you at the moment.
I think it's all filtered through that base level need. Your need for security pretty much rules your life in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. As you have a gun safe in the background, just FYI.
Shut up. I could argue with that, but I've had enough of this that I don't want to.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Mason!
There's nothing wrong with it.
He's drinking your dog. He's going to be your dog when he's drunk. He's drinking out of the water pitcher that I have set down to refill the humidifier. Mungo Jerry used to do that.
He just thinks, and he's searching for a stream.
He's so spoiled.
He is
But
spoiled.
he's doing a good job with his training. We're doing his training. He's doing such a good job. I do not know what we did without this dog. We love him so much.
I'm very, very happy. Every time I hear that, that makes me happy.
He has gotten under our skin. We've set the cameras up so we can watch him while we're gone.
I know.
So, yeah. But I don't know what we did without him.
So, on a side
Pretty
note,
awesome.
I haven't had it. I don't think anyone actually cares about my Patreon.
Why do you say that?
Well, okay, so I set up my Patreon for my book. And I have different tiers, 3, 5, 10, 25, and 100. And each tier has a different benefit. And they add upon, they build upon each other. Well, I remember I said when I finished the first cycle of the book, I was going to hold a Q&A. Nobody commented.
Okay.
Nobody asked me anything. No one sent me messages. Nothing. Everyone's still Patreon.
Okay.
They're still paying me. They're still supporting me. No one said anything. I ended the second cycle. Didn't even mention it. Hasn't come up. I don't think anyone actually cares. I think everyone's actually on there just to support me because they're awesome and they love me. But I don't think they actually care about the book.
No, I disagree. I think everybody cares about the book. But, for instance, Laura and I started this business, Pocket Expert, many years ago. And since I'm not the actual expert, I'm doing everything else. I do the contracts, the billing, the contacting of people, and all of that. And I drive. I did not know what I was doing in the beginning at all.
Sure.
And there's a lot of it I still don't know. Thank God I have an accountant, because the money stuff just completely blows me away. I have no idea.
Okay.
But as long as I know that the accountant is taking care of it, and I'm probably not going to end up going to federal jail because she's taking care of it, I don't care. I'm happy. And I think that's how people feel. You need help with the book. Most people look at that and think, I don't know how to help him with the book. And I'm reading it, and it looks like he's doing a good job, so he really doesn't need my help. So I'm not going to worry about that. And I get that, because that's how I was with the paperwork of the business for a very long time. As long as the IRS doesn't come knocking on the door with handcuffs and want to take me away, I'm pretty happy. I feel like I'm doing an okay job.
Okay.
They're reading your book, and it's good, and they don't know what they can do to help you. And most people are that way. It's hard for people to give an opinion of something that they don't even know how to give an opinion of. Yeah, I liked it. Most of the time, that's all the opinion you're going to get from somebody. Yeah, I liked it. Well, that's just the way people are. They don't understand the kind of help you need. And they don't understand that it's simple enough that, if they sit down one-on-one with you and you ask questions that they have to answer, for them to come up with something to tell you themselves, they don't have the ability to do that. But if you ask them questions, they can answer your questions.
Well, but
the problem is you can't come up with the right question.
Then, at the end of every chapter, I say, like it if you liked it, comment if you have comments, or just tell me that you were here. The only people that do it is you and James. The only people that actually think to click a single button,
the heart?
Yes, is you and James. If I go look now, nothing will have more than 2 likes. Most things will only have 1.
And that's probably me. I went back the other day, and I don't think of that. I'm bad about that. I don't think about that. But I went back the other day and went through everything and put a like
I
on it
saw that.
because there
Yes.
were a few things I hadn't. But and I know that seems like such a small thing, but it's just one more step. And it doesn't, I don't think it says anything about the book or about you or about your patrons that they don't do that. And that's why I try to be available and talk to you about it as much as I can, because I know that you have trouble finding people to talk to you about it.
I appreciate that. I need that.
And I know that you need that. And I understand that because I've been there with the business, and I mean, I had stupid questions that just seemed, I'm sure, so obvious to somebody, but I just didn't know. And you just need someone to bounce that shit off of. And many of these things I still don't know, but God knows I'm paying an accountant like $60 a month, and it's worth 10 times that because I just don't know.
Well,
And I don't want to go to federal prison.
That's part of the thing. I kind of feel bad for some of these. I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed in the fact that I have you and I have James. Because, let's be honest, my wife wants nothing to do with it.
Okay, now wait a minute. I'm gonna defend Hannah for a minute. She hears more about it than anybody else, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, but only because I tell her. She doesn't ask.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, she's got her own thing going on.
Yeah,
and,
no,
and
I'm
bless
not-
her heart, she
I'm not-
hears a lot about it.
Yeah, but I hear more about her job than she hears about my book.
Mm.
At this point, I
Yeah,
could be
I
a
wouldn't
child
doubt
development specialist on my own.
I
have
feel
the
that.
training.
I could be a DNA expert.
Yeah, Danny, I fully expect my Patreon to be probably more popular once I release that first book. So you're probably right. I don't have a following. Honestly, every single person that's on my Patreon right now that's supporting me is people either A, that I've been close to family or friends wise, or someone I've met through my job as a bartender that loved me for whatever reason. But
Because you're a good bartender.
yes, thank you. But I honestly I just want. I don't know how I figured it out that I didn't like the opening to the book. I don't remember. But that's the kind of stuff that I need. I think you told me that you didn't really like the first chapter.
Because it's in a different voice.
Yes.
And I didn't like that. It didn't feel right.
And I that's the kind of stuff that we need. And I feel bad for a number of these Facebook authors that I've talked to because I'm willing to bet a large number of them just don't have people in their lives that are A, willing to experience their writing, and B, willing to be honest enough with them to help them. And that's sad.
Well, it is. That's very sad.
Because it doesn't take much to read. Danny, I read your book in like 3 days. 3 sittings.
I'm still reading it.
Like
I'm halfway through it.
It doesn't take, and maybe it takes more for some people, so I'll say that. I'll say it probably takes more for some people. For more people than me, like I'm a fast reader, I pay attention, I make sure I take
Well,
the time.
and you're committed.
I'm committed, yes.
You are committed. And I'm not that committed. I'm committed to yours, but I'm not as committed to him. I will get through it.
And that's fine. You're actually taking effort where a lot of people won't. But it makes me sad that I guarantee there is a number of these people, a number of these writers that they're trying. They just have I told you how sanity works?
I wouldn't. No, I don't have any of it.
Sanity is a funny thing. It's not what we think it is. Sanity exists as a function, as a side effect of society. When you go into a room of people, we are always consciously and subconsciously watching how other people react to how we behave. So if I
Sure,
walk
okay.
into a room of people and I say, "Hey everybody, how you doing?" everyone's going to look at me and be like, hey, good to see you. That's a positive response. That reinforces me walking into rooms of people and saying, hey, everybody, how you doing? But if I walk into a room of people and I go, blah, 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 generally speaking, every single one of the people in that room are going to be like, the fuck is he? What is this shit? And they're probably going to step away from me.
Take his temperature.
That's going to reinforce not walking into a room going blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
So what sanity is actually a process that builds upon itself over time amongst other people. We're constantly acting and gauging our response. And based on the response that we are getting, we are building a sane profile of behavior. And how I can prove this is the trope of the guy who goes out into the wilderness, spends time alone, and he comes back crazy. Shows up in fiction all the time. The old hermit that just acts weird. He's just odd. He does weird things. He acts crazy. He doesn't have anyone in his life to bounce things off of, so he develops insane mannerisms.
Because nobody's told him otherwise.
Yes, he seems crazy.
Okay.
So I feel bad for these authors who have no one in their life to, like, read through their stuff and tell them when they're heading down a bad path or writing badly or whatnot. Because to them, they might get to the end of their book and be super happy about it, and then it doesn't perform well, and they don't understand why.
Because nobody's told them on the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. What was it, baby? I didn't see anyone. He barks whenever there's somebody at the door, which of course is his job.
That is his job. He got to protect everybody.
So we praise him for it. And he's got a very intimidating bark.
Yes, he does. He's such a pretty
which
dog.
I love. He is, and everybody loves him everywhere we go. Yes, we're talking about you, Pumpkin.
I do miss him. I told Hannah she was dealing with she was having a rough day.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
She was having a rough day the other day dealing with him, and I told her, I said, listen, it's I developed at a young age the ability to make bad situations okay.
Okay.
Didn't have a lot of friends. Actually, I had no friends. Let's be honest. I had 0 friends growing up in middle school. I had a couple, but in elementary school, I had none. So I had to learn how to make my situation okay in order to stay sane. So I could find a bad situation and I could make it all right. Well, not everybody has that ability. They haven't built that.
Oh God, no.
They haven't built that that habit, I guess, is the best way to put it. So when we had to send Mason to you, I very quickly made it okay. I figured out it's good for you, it's good for him, it's good for us. And granted, I might miss him occasionally, but I figured out a way to make it okay in my head. Hannah doesn't have that practice.
Sure. Oh, I feel so bad for her for that.
So she struggles with the idea that she thinks she failed him. And I don't see it that way. I mean, sometimes you end up dating someone and it doesn't work out. You don't hate the person. You love them, but they're not right for you. And that's all it was.
Well, you let Hannah know that far from failing him, he has gone to 2 moms that love him so much and spoil him completely.
Oh, no kidding. I get that.
And he's getting better. His training is going so well. And the other day when I gave him the stuffed elephant, and he was so happy for like the first time, and it seemed like forever. That just made us so happy because he's He's kind of a strange little dog,
He really is.
but when he's happy, he makes everybody happy.
Yeah.
And he was so happy with that elephant. And now he's just walking around crying. I don't know what he wants. Pumpkin, I'm not giving you more cookies. You don't need more cookies. He ate his breakfast today for the first time in like 4 days.
He wasn't eating breakfast?
He won't eat the breakfast I make for him.
What do you make for him?
But he's not. He's eating this, this fresh frozen food.
Yeah.
And there's beef, chicken, and lamb. And I don't think he likes the lamb, but today he ate all lamb.
I don't blame him.
And
Lamb's gross.
I know, it's nasty. Oh, Denver. Nah, don't need to answer that. The doctor's office didn't call me that. But yeah, he ate it this morning. So once a week I go to Costco and I get a chicken. And I cut the chicken up and I put 1/4 of a cup of the cut up chicken in little snack bags and I freeze it. And he gets that in his regular dog food, which is the fresh frozen, in the morning and at night. And then at night he gets a fried egg on it as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's not spoiled.
You don't... everything I've read is raw egg. Give raw eggs to dogs. But, I mean, it doesn't matter, I'm sure, but...
Well, he eats it.
Yeah.
He loves it, so.
Sure. That's funny. But he won't eat his
Come on,
breakfast, huh?
babe.
That's so funny.
No, most mornings he doesn't. Now, if I pick out the chicken pieces and feed them to him, he'll eat them. Now, last night he made a liar out of me. I picked out the chicken pieces and fed them to him, and he ate them. But then I picked up some of the just regular food and put it on my finger, and he just turned up his nose. But then he came back later and ate all of it. So.
He's so weird. Hannah
He
bought
is very weird.
He bought some of the farmer's dog stuff.
He didn't like any of that.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. And
Oh my God.
We've just been using it as a topper for his dry food, and Maddox loves it.
Well, Laura's got him on this, I don't know the brand of it, dry food. And he, what the hell is it doing? He eats it every now and then. I've got a new rug, a new area rug in the living room, and I opened it today for the first time, and I have it upside down because it was rolled up. So I have it upside down so it can flatten out. So it makes a funny noise when he walks on it because it's that hard back.
Yeah.
And he's playing with one of his toys on it, and it sounds like the world is coming to an end in there.
God.
It's really funny. But he's so good. I don't know what we do without him.
I'm glad
Honestly,
you're happy.
I don't know what we did without him.
I'm glad you're both happy.
And in June, we're going to travel with him for the first time. And he loves to go in the car.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we've started taking him to Starbucks because you told me that's how you got him trained to go in the car.
Yep, he loves his puppuccinos.
But I kept one of the puppuccino cups.
Okay.
And I bought some whipped cream, and we give him those at home now.
Nice.
But the people at Starbucks love him.
Of course.
Because I put his window down so he can see him, and the one girl took a picture of him. Oh, he's so pretty.
He's a
And of
gorgeous
course he
dog.
is. He is. We
just
love
beautiful.
his freckles. But he's just, he's getting better. And that trip out here, I know that was so very traumatic.
Oh, of course.
for him. But he's getting better. He still flinches a little bit when you pet him and he's not expecting it. But he's getting a little bit better about it. So, and it's only been a couple of months, so I'm sure after 3 or 4 months he's going to be great.
Good.
But I love that he loves to ride in the car because, the cats hated it
I know.
completely. And he's getting better about, he doesn't get so excited when we get home, and he doesn't pee because we make him sit before we open the door.
Okay.
And then we make him stay when we open the door. And he did come to us pretty well pre-trained.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
am thankful for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you this. We have this, let me show you this thing we've got. And he was terrified of this when we first got it. It's a little telescoping pole with a red ball on the end of it.
Okay.
And that's the target. Target. He wouldn't have anything to do with it at first. But Laura put the treat on top of it and had him eat it. And now he's not afraid of it at all. I can pet him with it. But we do target, and he hits it with his nose. He hits the red ball with his nose, and he gets a treat. And he does it every time. Today I did it up high, and he jumped up to hit it with his nose.
That's awesome. He's so smart.
He is so smart. It's crazy how smart he is. But he's getting so much better with that. We did that today, and he does. Our trainer doesn't want us to do sit and then down. He wants us to just go straight to down.
Yeah.
He picked that up in just a second. He's just so smart. But then he also gets bored. And he'll only do it for a little while, and then he's bored. He's like, yeah, this ain't fun no more.
Yep. That's funny.
But he's doing so well. And he, not this last Sunday, but the week before, he warmed up enough to the trainer that he went to him and he sniffed of him and he wanted him to pet him.
Oh, nice.
And that was the first time. So he likes the trainer.
Good.
But he's doing so well. And he, other than the fact that he likes to crowd you in the bed.
He just likes being next to his people. It's fun.
Yeah, he's fun. And I know that you guys sit on the same couch usually.
Yeah.
When you'd watch TV. See, we don't do that. Laura sits in her chair, and I sit on the couch. He does not like that.
Oh, yeah,
He'd
probably
like
not.
for both of us to be in the same couch, but our couch isn't as deep as yours.
Yeah.
And it's not as comfortable for him. But he's getting used to it. He's a good boy. Yeah, you go outside. He's outside now.
Well, I think
He may need to go potty.
that marks the end of the stream. I think we have reached a logical conclusion to everything.
Oh, have we? Oh, yeah, it's almost 5.
Yep.
So it's almost 7 for you.
Yep.
Has Hannah come home?
She is. I need to go in there and visit with her and check and see how dinner's going because I'm getting kind of hungry.
We'll tell her we love her tummy.
I will. Danny, thanks for coming and
And
visiting with us. I
dog is
appreciate
great.
you. Of course, now it says I have 4 viewers. I had 2 viewers the whole time, but now I've got 4. Yeah, as I'm talking about getting off for the night.
Oh, I wonder who the other ones are.
Don't know. Hi, viewers who are joining as I am leaving. I hope y'all are well.
You didn't miss much talk about aliens. We didn't cover that much.
I'm kind of silent observers at times. Silence is fine. You interject just enough. I enjoy all of your interjections. I'm going to have to come up with another fun drink to do next week, I guess. Next time, 2 weeks from now.
Oh, you probably don't have any slow gin.
No. I have the typical stuff like the basics. I've got a lot of bourbon mostly. But it's about it.
Oh, I meant to tell you. So the other night, my throat's been bothering me. Today's been the best day. But my throat was bothering me, so I decided I was going to drink a hot toddy.
Okay.
I used Crown.
Okay.
Crown's awful.
It is awful.
So I used Crown. Let me see, lemon juice,
Yep.
honey,
Uh-huh.
ginger, and hot water.
Ginger, you went the extra step. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I did. And my doctor told me to use ginger. So it was so bad. Mason looked at me once because I drink and I go, woof. It was just so bad.
Like, what, too much lemon juice or just Crown?
Just the Crown. Now, Laura makes me lemon juice and honey,
Yeah.
and I can drink that.
Yeah.
In hot water.
Yeah.
Excuse me, in hot water, that's okay. But God, that Crown is horrible. And I couldn't find any bourbon. Apparently, I have no bourbon. I think I've sent it all to you.
Yeah, I'm good with with not being hazed. Thank you, Danny. I've had some hazing in my past, and I don't want to be hazed again. Nope.
Oh, what did he say? I won't read it for another 10
Chili
minutes.
Willy. It's very simple and it involves snorting spiritus. It was a rite of passage hazing we did in the military. No thanks. I'm freaking out.
Snorting?
I made my buddy snort some lemon salt once, and that was enough to talk me out of snorting anything for the rest of my life. It was James. Of course it was James.
Yeah, because Owen James would do that.
Yes, he would. Yeah, that was fun to watch.
No.
But that is enough for me. I am done for the evening. I got a dinner coming up. I got to be at least somewhat coherent for the dinner, and I've had enough peanut butter whiskey and alcohol to get me on the edge of coherency. But
Yeah, I've had too much.
we'll do 2 weeks from now. Sound good?
Oh, let me look at my calendar. Let me look real quick. We've got the 1st of June. Of course, this will be in May. The 1st of June, we're going to be 2 weeks. 1, 2. That's the 10th. I'll put it on my calendar. Nope, we're completely open.
That's what I like to hear.
The 1st of June,
Bye, Danny.
we are in. We're going to Northern Washington for a conference for
Okay,
us.
congratulations.
Yeah, no. And then from there, we're going to Great Falls, Montana for a trial.
Fantastic. Well, you'll have
No,
fun with
really.
that, and I will see you. Well, I'm going to talk to you like in a day or two, but whatever. I will set this up, and we'll do this again in 2 weeks. Cool.
Okay,
Word.
cool.
Word. And I'm going to go eat some. I'm going to eat some tacos. Tacos sound great.
Ooh, they do. Let me know how that chapter 56.
It's coming up soon. I'll probably have it done by tomorrow morning.
Well, do you want to talk about it?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, let me know what you think.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
I can't get my phone to hang up.